I'm super excited, especially given the topic we're going to talk about is how do you serve your customer? And in this case, our customer is the employees who are at the organization. So I guess a good place to start is, yeah, how do you get to know your internal customer and what they need?
I think this is actually one of the sneaky little bits about L&D that make it such a beautiful role, is like your job is literally to have a chat and have a good time with people. I think it's enabling yourself to like literally, just talk to people on a level and really understand that they're your colleagues. So it's like a couple of different things that like I do to really understand that, but it is really ground level. It is literally jumping in and having these like proper basic conversations like how's it going, what's going on today, not really even talking about work or learning specifically, enabling like that very like a natural relationship to form as you're kind of working with people, and then you can start gathering those threads and really pulling them. But there's a couple of little things that I really like to do as part of it. I think one of them, and I definitely can't take credit for this as an idea, I learned this from a webinar, but it was flipping the script on the exit interview. So there's like a bunch of questions that you'll ask during an exit interview, like why are you leaving? What strengths didn't you use that you wish you could have used? What about your job did you not like that you wish you could never do again? All those kind of questions that you'll ask when someone's leaving, when it's too late. Well, I like to ask those questions in their first month, because then we can do something with it, and you learn some really like interesting things about what your customer wants and kind of what they need as well to feel like they're fully served by the business. And then another way is really thinking about actually what is the product that we deliver ourselves for our customer, for our external customer. It's going to get really confusing as I go between internal and external talking about this. But we create a really beautifully designed product for our external customer. And for me, that is the baseline of what we deliver internally. So that has to be the exact minimum, because if they're expected to do that for everyone else, then they should get the same thing inside, which creates a lot of excitement and pressure on the L&D role. But then also it means that you're constantly innovating and looking for new ways to serve them better, which really helps you get to know kind of what they want, what's working. Obviously, like lining up on the feedback of what they're giving you on the back of your interventions. And I also think like when you're doing certain interventions, people will tell you what they want more often than not. If you're actively listening, people will actually just give you the exact answer you need. So sometimes I'll be in a workshop and somebody will say something. I'm like, oh, then that's our next workshop that we're going to do. And you're already giving me what that is. But then subconsciously they know they've been heard. So it's like kind of like I'm scratching their back, but they're also helping me scratch my own back at the same time to give them what they need. If that kind of answers that question.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the approach of, looking at it as a product and a customer, right? Because it means you can leverage a lot of the learnings that we have generally around product development and being customer focused. And just that kind of approach itself is quite different to how a lot of L&D teams work and what we've seen. And what do you think that changes? How does that help the way of thinking about what you offer as a product and thinking about your end user as a customer? How do you think that helps you deliver better L&D within your organization?
It stops it being so much what you think is the right thing to deliver, and it's more about what they need from you as well. So you're really looking at those specific interventions and problems that they're facing and solving something or helping them solve something very specific and tangible. Like we all love a really like broad and beautiful like leadership theory, and actually next year we are doing a massive rollout of insights in our business. But it's actually how can you get something really broad like that and be like, this is how you can answer or solve this specific issue that you're facing right now. And that's really that kind of like customer mentality. Like imagine if you hired someone to build a garage for you and then they kind of like built what they thought they should build and not the garage you wanted. And you'd be like, why the hell are you here? Like you're fired. And it's the exact same thing for me within the L&D business. Like how can we solve a specific issue you're facing or help you go on that journey together? And then we can take it from there. And then you can weave in the things that you think are really interesting, the things that get you fired up as part of it and get them engaged to it and really liberate their curiosity along the way of that journey. But yeah, I think getting it as specific and tangible as possible is the real silver bullet that comes with serving that internal customer.
So what does, I guess, that initial part of the process look like? Is it, I'm going to go out and speak to certain managers? How do you pick those managers? How do you do those interviews to really understand what those needs look like?
I mean, it is super tiered. So first off, you have your overarching business OKRs. Like, I need to prove return on investment on why we're doing this, the real sort of like back to brass tacks, and sometimes like not the sexiest part of the role. But there is that like beautiful phrase of eating a frog. So I like to eat the frog, which is really tying it back into those areas. And then it's looking really for the influencers that are in the business already. So I kind of look at those in kind of all different levels. So you have the influential people in the business who are just broadly, they're well renowned in the company. People listen to what they're saying. They are very good at influencing up, but they're also very supportive and ear to the ground. So using those people as kind of like, what are those key challenges you're facing? What's going on right now? What are you working on? So how can what we're doing right now not only solve our business OKRs, help me achieve my OKRs, but really, how can they help you do yours? Because the minute that I'm helping you do that more effectively is we're starting to build that structure. And then I look kind of on the other end of our influencers, of our like learning influencers. So these are the people who are champions already of that learning process. So they can sometimes are a bit quicker to see the connection between the intervention and the tool you're making and the problem you're trying to solve. And they will help you build those bridges and talk to people sort of like around the business as well. And they sort of become part of the training army or the training ethos. And then I go to the next step, which is the person who might not be a converted training influencer, but somebody who has a unique problem that you can help them with. And usually that person is somebody that I might look at who might be in a completely different area of the business to me. So for instance, the way that our structure is set up, I'm part of the people team, which is part of the operational team, which is the very operational structure of the business. But then we have an area of the business which is a bit more creative, marketing, and those areas. And they kind of live in a different sort of house to me. So how can I get someone who lives in that house to be super excited and do that over there? And that's what I like to call like my unconverted influencer. And I'll help them sort of take the work that we're doing and be like, oh my God, this has solved this problem. And then they're influencing this whole house of people that maybe I don't have like the access to. Maybe if we're using us, I don't know, like a Harry Potter analogy, I'm in Slytherin, they're in Hufflepuff. I don't have the password to get into whatever their house common room is, but they're doing it for me over there. And it is that thing of we're all that one team sort of ethos inside that strategy.